Hi, David here, and welcome back to the channel, where we're looking at life in spirit through the automatic writings of early 20th century medium James Padgett. In the last video in this series, 219, we looked at a message from someone who had been a patient of James's friend, Dr. Leslie Stone, which gave us an interesting glimpse into what it is like for someone in spirit to look back upon a life that, in this world, was marred by mental illness caused by a malfunction of the physical brain. Today, we're looking at another message addressed to Dr. Stone, responding to his thoughts upon reading books about other people's psychic experiences. It's a short message given on June 18, 1918, but it does raise some interesting points about the spiritualist movement and our attitudes to different forms of mediumship. So the background to this message is that James Padgett's friend, Dr. Leslie Stone, has been reading books written by others about their experiences of spiritualism and some of the phenomena associated with it. And presumably the two of them have been discussing these texts with each other. 100 years ago, many of the phenomena associated with mediumship were much more physical in nature than they are now. We hear all these tales of spirits manifesting visibly, noises being made, objects moving in a seance room, and so on. These days, such phenomena are much less a feature of spiritualism, and I've met many mediums who say that those phenomena have less value than messages through a medium, evidencing personal survival beyond death. Now, James Padgett and Leslie Stone are used to receiving and reading advanced messages from some very highly developed spirits indeed. And when you've got your eye on higher things, as we say, it is perhaps tempting occasionally to look askance at some of the more obvious or physical phenomena associated with spiritualism and mediumship. However, on this evening of June 18, 1918, James Padgett is used as the medium to offer a slightly different perspective. The person in spirit communicating through James just goes by the name of Spencer, and he begins by introducing himself to James, saying, "I am here, Spencer. I want to say just a word to your friend, Dr. Stone, who is so much interested in the discovery of the truths of the spirit world and of the facts that exist in that world. While I have been with you as you discussed these prospects and also the writings of the men who have become converted to spiritualism, I saw that you were not satisfied with what the writings contained and wished that these men might know the truth so that they could declare it to the world." So Spencer is pointing out to Leslie Stone that he enjoys a privileged position in knowing the truth of divine love and the difference it makes to the human soul, and notes that he is feeling a tad frustrated with people getting excited about more obvious physical phenomena. Yet Spencer tells Dr. Stone, "You must wait until your messages are finished and in shape to publish before these truths can be made known to the world." These men who are having the experiences of which they write are doing a good work in publishing accounts of the same, in this, that they are preparing the minds of their readers to accept the truths of spiritualism whenever the same shall be published. So Spencer is reminding Dr. Stone that there are many people in the world who first need to be awakened to the knowledge that there is more in our universe than just this physical world and these physical bodies that we inhabit. For people who give priority to what the mind can perceive and who may not even think of themselves as spirits inhabiting a physical form, the first step is often to show them something that should not be possible in terms of our accepted knowledge of the laws of physics. Of those who experience such things and are moved to write about them, Spencer says, they are breaking up the fallow ground and making it ready to receive the seeds of truth, as they shall become scattered over the soil that so lately has been barren and unfitted to receive and nurture these seeds. The work is one that shall result in much good, and will gradually lead mankind to accept as true and coming from the spirit world what they would not otherwise receive. Certainly, in terms of my own experience, I understand where Spencer is coming from. I'm one of the lucky ones who had certain psychic experiences in childhood. But my formal education made no room for these and didn't give me the means to do anything with them. I'm also academically capable and have absorbed a very extended training in using the mind, viewing the world from a materialistic, skeptical perspective. Without the memory of those early experiences and my natural curiosity, sheer nosiness, some would call it, I might have remained stuck in that conventional perspective. But those experiences from spirit are what prevented that from happening. And so it has to be for many people living in a world where our formal education doesn't equip us to explore spiritual matters. To the extent that we are taught about spiritual matters, it is often in terms of the orthodoxy of an established religion, which can be just as great an obstacle to spirit as the most materialistic mindset. So Spencer comes forward to make the point that phenomena that simply open the mind a little can have a huge long-term value in terms of what someone might be prompted to explore. Spencer says, I merely wanted to write this little message so that you and your friend may not think that the publications such as you have read tonight are worthless and without a function in causing men to believe in the lower truths of spiritualism. They are very valuable to mankind in general and to those philosophers and scientists who are more interested in the physical aspects of the study. They must be encouraged, and you must not think that their appearing is merely a waste of time or effort. They are the ABCs of spiritualism and must be learned before you can expect the higher or more spiritual truths to be received. I was a scientist when on Earth and a supposed agnostic, but I know better now. Well, I will not write more now. Good night, your friend, Spencer. When I look at the trajectory of my own mediumistic development, I see an example of the truth of what Spencer says. I had experiences that made me aware that the materialistic explanation of this world and this life is incomplete. But I had no framework for making sense of those experiences. It was only when I started developing as a medium that I could begin to develop the wider perspective I needed. As a medium, I now have the occasional privilege of showing the unexpected to other people. One of my favourite examples of this is when I met a friend for dinner one evening in London, in a very busy, noisy restaurant, full of life and bustle, the last place you might expect physical phenomena to occur. It was one of those restaurants where the table and chairs are fixed to the floor, which was just part of the design aesthetic for that restaurant. I was there first, sitting at the table. My friend arrives. We're both pleased to see each other. We have a hug and sit down. And just as we were about to start chatting, I looked at the bowl in the middle of her place setting opposite me. And I just knew that between us, I and my spirit guides were going to move that bowl. And we did. In the instant that I knew we were doing this, it moved, sliding to one side. My friend and I both watched this. It was the strangest experience, watching something I was also involved in making happen. I was amused. She was shocked. What is this? She had no words for what she had just seen. She knew she hadn't touched the bowl. The table was level and bolted to the floor. Even if the table had been loose, knocking it would not have resulted in such a distinct sideways movement of the bowl. It started moving without anyone touching it, then moved sideways at a constant speed, and then stopped. It was so obviously something that should not have happened. The other thing I would add is that from my perspective, it did not take any great energy or concentration that I was aware of. It felt like the easiest, most natural, inevitable thing in the world. In the instant I knew it was going to happen, it happened. Now, at one level, moving a bowl a foot across the table was trivial, but it was an intrusion into this world that has led to my friend, in her circles of family and friends, discussing mediumship and life after death with me when we get together. My friend's perspective has changed, even though she remains wary. The perspective of some of her friends has changed much more. So with that one small demonstration, Spirit have opened the door to a new perspective for the person who saw it and all the people it has been mentioned to, because it also gave me a good story to tell about something that, as God is my witness, did happen. It also showed me that Spirit don't need a darkened room to manifest physical phenomena. If the moment is right, it can be done in the busiest, noisiest, most brightly lit of places. With the power and soul knowledge available to him, Jesus was able to achieve the resurrection appearances, which were exceptionally complete, took place in broad daylight, and went on over an extended period of days. It was partly on the back of this physical manifestation that a religious tradition was founded, even if it has somewhat misunderstood the full implications of what Jesus taught and showed. So Spencer's message is an important reminder not to look down upon what he calls the ABCs of spiritualism. If we don't learn our ABCs, we have no chance of getting to the more valuable knowledge. All the mediums giving personal communications week in, week out, of what might seem to be fairly mundane messages are working at the coalface, demonstrating personal survival beyond death. It is upon that foundation that so much else depends. The next video in this series of messages from family and friends of James Padgett will look at a message from James's old law partner, Anthony Riddle, whom we've heard from once already, back in video 2.9. It's a long message, but a fascinating one, because Anthony tells James that he has moved beyond the 7 spiritual heavens. That video will also conclude Series 2, and I'll say a bit more in it about what Series 3 will contain. The next video in the Divine Love series will be video 1020, which will look at a message from Luke, explaining what it means to say that God is a being with personality. So I hope you'll find time to join me for one or other of those. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, please do take a moment to like and subscribe if you haven't already, as it does help to introduce the material to others, just like moving bowls on tabletops. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care until then. Bye-bye.